as you rightly mentioned, in the region, Oman has been our oldest strategic partner. This is also a country with which we have several thousand years of history, a free trade agreement with Oman. That will open a lot of opportunities for the country. Indian businesses, trade, and they are, of course, our partners in the hydrocarbons as well. We have also been talking on various other projects with them. In defense and security, they are very important for us. India has got high stakes in the Dukum port, which is very strategic. And we are looking for more opportunities. Food security is also very important between us and them. That
Fertilizer.
first fertilizer plant, OMIFCO, was started in in Oman. And from Oman, that was a buyback arrangement fully. They invested in that.
Why Jordan is important to us, and how what is, I mean, the strategic side of it?
I think that I was ambassador there, so I can tell you something is when I went to call on the president, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, and he told me, Anil, I'm so happy that you are going to Jordan. It's a very, very strategic country. And you know that in terms of foreign policy, Mr. Mukherjee was one of the most remarkable uh, erudite person. So 65 years when we were celebrating, we did not have a very robust relationship with the country. Reason was they were perceived to be very close to Pakistan. And that's the reason, and rightly so, because Pakistanis actually, General Ziaul Haq was doing the training there in Brigadier in 73 and all. When the Palestinians, Yasser Arafat and others, rose against the king, and this is the Pakistanis who fought in trenches with them to fight the Palestinians and to throw them out. They are so wanting to be close to India. So when Prime Minister Modi for the first time met the king in New York, they hit it off because both think very similarly. And that's one. Second time Prime Minister Modi went there, first time, was he was going to Ramallah. And when he was going to Ramallah, King was in Dubai going on his way to Pakistan. When he heard that Indian Prime Minister is going to stay overnight in
Yes, I was reading
Jordan,
your piece.
yes, Jordan, he came back. So that is the kind of relationship that we have developed in the past 10 years. And for that, I must say the credit must go to Prime Minister Modi. So our relationship with whole of West Asia, frankly, has become far more strategic than it used to be. At one time, it was very transactional. You buy oil, your people are there, they're sending remittances. It has all changed in a great way. And I always say that the biggest success of our foreign policy can be witnessed in the region. I was shocked when I was in the division that we had no visit after Mrs. Gandhi to the region, 82, of any prime minister. It started off. We started in 2008, 10, like that, big visits. And then now, under Prime Minister Modi, first time you can see a prime minister visiting UAE 7 times. Unprecedented, but needed. I always maintain that the Arabs are very different people. They like to have personal connect. So same thing applies at the leadership level also.
Hi, this is PratimBose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Ambassador Anil Trigunayat. He has been quite regular, thankfully, to my platform. And we will discuss a couple of subjects. So as you are aware, Ambassador Trigunayat is an expert on Middle East affairs. He has been to Russia as well. And during the course of the discussion, we will discuss about the India-Russia relationship vis-a-vis India-USA and the all-important tours of the Prime Minister to Oman and Jordan. So let's start with Oman, a very reliable partner. Or I should say, in terms of temperament to India-Russia relationship, very stable. And how do you see this relationship moving forward with the Prime Minister visiting, and there have been bilateral visits? So how do you see where it is going and why Oman is so important to us?
Well, thank you, Pratimji, for inviting me once again on your very esteemed platform. Um, it is a very opportune moment in a way because today, as we talk, Prime Minister is in Oman, and this happens to be his second visit. And as you rightly mentioned, in the region, Oman has been our oldest strategic partner. This is also a country with which we have several thousand years of history. Records indicate about 5,000-year-old contacts. And since India was always a maritime power, a maritime nation, a trading nation, Oman ports were very important for the part of the Silk Route in which we reached out to the west through the Arab world. So Oman ports are always very good. Secondly, Oman, in its own foreign policy, is a country which follows very similar to our foreign policy. They are generally neutral in the region, but they are for peace in the region. They are the real actors who believe in dialogue and diplomacy and act as an interlocutor within the regional context, whether it was between Saudi Arabia or Iran, or between Iran and the other countries in the region, or for that matter, even with Israel, they have been very equanimous. When it was a Qatar's blockade, they played a very important role. So, and they're respected for that. They don't take sides. Their foreign policy is very pro developmental and pro peace policy, and they want a regional kind of an architecture. India also believes in dialogue, diplomacy, and peace, and therefore it's natural corollary to that. Secondly, it's also a very tolerant nation, very enterprising nation, and in our maritime context, or in the context of Northwest Indian Ocean region, as we call, it also acquires a very important position. A, in terms of the outreach to Africa and within our own policy. Second, towards the Strait of Hormuz, they have an axis, and we know that the Red Sea, because of Houthis, what has happened. It's important. From India, the region is very important. But that's the message the Prime Minister is giving by visiting Jordan and visiting Oman. Now, as you know, we recently in 2022 we signed the first comprehensive economic partnership agreement with UAE in
Right.
remarkably 88 days of negotiations, 8,800 pages
Mm,
or 880 pages document in the fastest, and it has yielded its dividends. Trade has doubled.
mm.
In this visit also, we expect, and I guess this we've signed a document in a few hours' time, a free trade agreement with Oman. That will open a lot of opportunities for the country. Indian businesses, trade, and they are, of course, our partners in the hydrocarbons as well. We have also been talking on various other projects with them. In defense and security, they are very important for us. India has got high stakes in the Dukum port, which is very strategic. And we are looking for more opportunities for Indian companies in that. So, strategically, also you become two partners, whether it is defense, whether it is cybersecurity, in the artificial intelligence, or in different areas. I mean, India, where India has this strength. In the health sector, they have been very much keen on developing ties with India, and we have done that remarkably well with them. I think in that sense, Oman is a very important country. And if you remember in the G20, Oman was one of the other countries, along with Egypt and UAE, whom we had invited as our guests.
Sir, it would be nice if you just explain the strategic part of it because I believe that a lot of preparation is underway. We can see the movements that way. And just asking in this regard, I understand people often say about Dubai is run by Indians and etc. etc. But I think Oman is another country where we have very strong, we supply the manpower kind of. Is it correct?
Yes, correct. It is about 700,000 Indians there, which is the largest expat community. Not only that, because as I mentioned about the maritime connectivity that we had for thousands of years, there have been large number of Indians who have been there for centuries. and they have also been Omanized.
The
So they
diaspora.
are like the diaspora. Many of them are very big businessmen, and they are also of Indian origin, which is very unique. It is not true in any other countries. That's what you have in Oman. So there are many of these Indians like Kimji and others who have, got they become the Omanis and doing very well. They are acting as a big bridge. Plus, the Omani leadership, of course, uh, acknowledges, like rest of the Gulf and the Middle East, the contributions of the Indian community, from the ordinary worker to the most highly professional and the entrepreneurs, for their own nation building. So that is very much there. At the same time, now, recently, because of their own situation, they have started Omanizing. It's called Omanization of the workforce. So
Right.
they want to have greater
It probably started
opportunity.
from COVID, right?
Yes. So they want to have more opportunities for their own people, which means what? That Indians will also have to rise in the skill ladder
Value
to be
chain, yeah.
more relevant being in that system. You asked about the strategic dimension of it. You see, the strategic dimension is in the defense and security area, for example. That's a very integral part of the strategic partnership where there's trust between each other. India has had all the three services. This is the one country in the region where all the three services, we have military exercises, military exchanges, supplies of equipment. The naval ships are regularly going to the Omanis ports for the port of call, for exchanges, for exercises. So, I mean, that is a very important thing. Then we are discussing negotiating in the cyberspace, in other areas. In fact, uh, food security is also very important between us and them. That the
Fertilizer.
first fertilizer plant, OMIFCO, was started in Jordan, in Oman. And from Oman, that was a buyback arrangement fully. They invested in that. It became joint. After 25 years, it passed to the Omanis. So it was the best model of win-win situation for both the countries. So it plays a very important role in that. When I was looking after the region in 2008, at that time we embarked on something going back into the history through these dhows, those boats. They used to travel from Oman to Kochi and Kochi to China. So
Okay.
750-year anniversary we celebrated with that at the time of the shipping between our ports. So I think that that connectivity is very much there, and they hold India and the Indians in a high regard. And of course, as I have written also about it, if you remember the former President Shankar Dayal Sharma ji, when he visited Oman, the Sultan himself came to airport to receive him, number one, and then drove him himself because he was his teacher.
Yes, the 42nd descendant of the Prophet Muhammad.
Yes. No, no, that is the Jordanian king. The
Okay.
Oman Sultan, the previous Sultan,
Sorry,
late
Oman.
Sultan. Yes. So he drove uh, the Dr. Sharma, who was our president at the time, because he was his teacher in the university. And his grandfather was even buried in India. So they have these kind of connections which are very much there. I was in UAE last week, and they were talking about. They said we should not develop a civilizational amnesia because we are so close to each other. The Bombay was the next home for all these people in the region.
Yes, yes. Bombay was home to all these people. And if you visit Dubai, you feel like you are in India
Yes.
almost,
That's-
except the weather.
yeah.
Sir, uh, so let's go to Jordan, the
Mhm.
other key player. I think the first prime ministerial or presidential visit has happened during Prime Minister Modi's tenure
So,
to Jordan. And why this particular country? In the recent years, we have seen a lot of Indian activity in the Mediterranean, in North Africa. We are opening these missions or opened missions where we were not there. And Jordan is one small piece in the puzzle. I believe it has importance to the IMEC. So why Jordan is important to us, and how what is, I mean, the strategic side of it?
I think that I was ambassador there, so I can tell you something is. when I went to call on the president, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, and he told me, Anil, I'm so happy that you are going to Jordan. It's a very, very strategic country. And you know that in terms of foreign policy, Mr. Mukherjee was one of the most remarkable erudite person in terms of the foreign policy. So I smiled and I told, so he got a bit irritated. He asked me, why are you smiling? I said, sir, if it is so strategic, why is it that we have had no visit in 65 years of president, prime minister, or anybody? We have a joint commission that has not met. So 65 years when we were celebrating, we did not have a very robust relationship with the country. Reason was they were perceived to be very close to Pakistan. And that's the reason, and rightly so, because Pakistanis actually, General Ziaul Haq was doing the training there in Brigadier in 73 and all. When the Palestinians, Yasser Arafat and others, rose against the king, and there's the Pakistanis who fought in trenches with them to fight the Palestinians and to throw them out. And therefore, they got indebted, and then he became the president. Naturally, they became very close. I've always maintained that when we perceive a country to be closer to Pakistan or any other country, we can't just sit back and relax. We need to go and make our own dent. And that's precisely when I went there. This is what we tried to do. So President Mukherjee told me, Anil, I will come. And he came in 2016, 15, October. We had no business till then. And then we had Mrs. Sitaraman who came there and she led the Joint Commission. It was upgraded, everything. It is strategic because of its location, number one, because it's between the Arabs and the Israelis, it makes a vote. Secondly, their army is one of the most professional army in the region.
Okay.
Intelligence is extremely important there. They are very forward-looking. Their king, for example, King Abdullah II, or even before, they are all so much against, and he is the direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad. You know, that Hashemites. So he is the one who is dead against any kind of terrorism, extremism, and radicalization. He is the one who is against the Takfiri philosophy. And therefore, I think it becomes a natural partner. Secondly, they are also very important for us in terms of, once again, fertilizer and food security. We have an $860 million plant there. We're creating phosphoric acid, which we're buying totally back into India. So this is one country where Indian companies. Thirdly, it is very strategic for us because this is one country where you have the US bases, you have the French and everybody else. And at the same time, they are so wanting to be close to India. So when Prime Minister Modi for the first time met the king in New York, they hit it off because both think very similarly. And that's one. Second time Prime Minister Modi went there, first time, he was going to Ramallah. And when he was going to Ramallah, King was in Dubai and going on his way to Pakistan. When he heard that Indian Prime Minister is going to stay overnight in
Yes, I was reading
Jordan,
your piece.
yes, Jordan, he came back, short his visit, did not go there, and came back to received him, even though it was not a bilateral visit for a Prime Minister. And in his own helicopter, he escorted him to Ramallah. So that is the kind of relationship that we have developed in the past 10 years. And for that, I must say the credit must go to Prime Minister Modi. So our relationship with whole of West Asia, frankly, has become far more strategic than it used to be. At one time, it was very transactional. You buy oil, your people are there, they're sending remittances. It has all changed in a great way. And I always say that the biggest success of our foreign policy can be witnessed in the region. Now, Prime Minister went to this place. You had Dr. Jaishankar. I was in UAE just 2 days ago. Dr. Jaishankar was there for one of the Banasir and the high level council meeting, strategic dialogue. He went to Israel immediately after that. And Prime Minister Modi today is in Oman. That shows that the context. Like, can you imagine any Prime Minister? I was there. I was shocked when I was in the division that we had no visit after Mrs. Gandhi to the region, 82, of any Prime Minister. It started off. We started in 2008, 10, like that, big visits. And then now, under Prime Minister Modi, first time you can see a Prime Minister visiting UAE 7 times. Unprecedented, but needed. I always maintain that the Arabs are very different people. They like to have personal connect. So same thing applies at the leadership level also. 90% of the things can be done if they like you and you like them, and if you hit it off.
So that's it, trust. So they work on
Yes,
trust.
absolutely. Like us, we also have the same kind of thinking.
And probably the same problem of lack of trust is a problem with the very immediate neighborhood. I mean, let's
Well,
not
our
forget
limit,
that the prime minister started his foreign tour in 2014 from Bhutan,
yeah,
and the foreign minister started the foreign tour from Bangladesh.
yeah, that's right.
And he was
You
the
know,
prime minister was the first to visit Nepal after IK Gujral. I mean,
right.
so
This is what I'm saying.
huge.
I mean, we were focusing more on the West. Most of the visits were taking place every year, here, there, and you are in a way ignoring. I tell you, today the diplomacy is conducted, the smart diplomacy is conducted at the highest leadership level. It has moved up the chain. So high level contacts are extremely important. What you can talk in these car diplomacy is something you cannot do otherwise in the official format.
Yes, very interesting. Card diplomacy. Suddenly we are
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yes, it's happening everywhere. Prime Minister Modi was in Tianjin with the President Putin. When he came, President Putin, he rode with Prime Minister Modi to his residence. Then now the uh, Crown Prince Hussein was driving Prime Minister Modi
I mean,
in Jordan.
it's very interesting, sir.
Hmm.
The is I understand that they are talking privately, fine. But I'm sure that in the past also, when they didn't have the card diplomacy, they spoke privately, exchange
Yeah,
words.
it's a standard format. Let me tell you what. A standard format is like this: that whenever the two leaders meet, there is a tete-a-tete meeting, which is called a closed door, by one or two people maximum. So the two principals and one staff maximum, if there is an interpreter or something. They meet for about half an hour, 40 minutes before the actual meeting. Sometimes those meetings are longer than the delegation level talks. And they're the threshold, most of the things. And many of the things that confidence level, confidently you can talk to each other just between you and me. I want to have an understanding. I mean, that's something has begun to yield greater dividends. But when you are traveling in a car with the other person driving you, like President Putin drove Prime Minister Modi in Sochi, spent nearly about 9 to 10 hours and driving himself. That was something, not the driver like in Tianjin, but there.
It creates a huge optics. It creates huge optics. So that is what my question, sir. The diplomacy is changing. I mean, what used to happen behind the closed doors, I mean, those things are there, but there are some, they are putting up pictures. They're giving you footage in today's terms, in the world of digital world, they are giving you footage. So creating public impact is an effort to go to the people, kind of touch
Of course, I
people.
mean, and media nature also changed. Earlier, it was not so quick. Information was not coming that fast. Today, the speed of information and the volume of information is so huge. And so these images convey a bigger messaging, actually. I mean, you remember that in Tianjin, when Prime Minister Modi, President Xi Jinping, and President Putin were standing together, that particular picture conveyed thousand messages. So everybody was watching and understanding what's transpiring there. So that's also, you are right. I mean, it's conveying a message that we have options, that here is that we have other friends too. That's also the case.
Sir, before moving to Russia, I have just a quick question to you. There is an assumption, and it is being told, that we might have to face war, or rather we are preparing, or we are preparing ground so that it doesn't happen, whichever is correct, defending ourselves. So this meeting, developing ties with Jordan, which was once considered an ally of Pakistan, is it helping us in keeping Jordan out of this Pakistani ecosystem, or how should it help?
Well, I don't think we have been, that is the intent. But the intent is that they have had such a close relation with Pakistan and continue to have close relations. There is no, it's not if this and that.
But you
They
should
also have
also be
their
my
own
friend.
history.
You should
Yes,
also be my
this is
friend.
what they said. This is what they want to. When King Abdullah himself told me that I want to meet Prime Minister, we must talk, I want to visit and this, that. So that's how things happened. When he came to India, Prime Minister Modi and he himself, they addressed the whole of Indian ulema and the ummas. I mean, it's not something that is that is done very frequently because he has a very special position.
The
He
picture,
is
the
also the
picture, the picture of Prophet's descendant
yes,
taking prime minister, driving prime
yes,
minister is huge.
correct, yes, and they are very moderate people. That's the best part about them. In the whole region, you will find now, of course, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is projecting that image. The Emirati president is also in the top. So what India has stood for thousands of years is being seen in this part of the world, and that's what they appreciate about India. And I always say that, we have 200 million Muslims, perhaps the largest community now, as per some estimates, anywhere in the world. Many of these countries were not aware of that fact. And that's where Pakistan was able to, project itself as the defender of Islam and things like that. Now they have realized the reality of the Pakistan, but they do know that there is at the grassroots level because it takes time for things to really come into right perspective as far as they are concerned. So we have to tell our position. And it's up to them. I always tell them that if they are your friends, Pakistanis, that you are a friend of Pakistan, please put some good sense into them that their policies will not succeed and eventually it'll hurt you and them. So if you are a friend, show the right path to your friends.
Right. I mean, another parallel we can draw is the Pakistan-Iran relationship or what. So, I mean, you have to, the days, we are not in Cold War era. So that, there is a, I mean, it's like into,
Yeah, but we might be heading towards Cold War 2.0.
yes, yes, that's the question. We would like to come back on Russia.